yeah, heed our warning and tread carefully if you're thinking of going down the path sourcing products from China. The next thing that we are always avoiding and advising people to avoid is products that are sourced abroad, even though this is conventional wisdom for dropshipping, using sites like AliExpress or Temu, and then dropshipping those products into Western countries from the other side of the world. So why is it that we actively discourage people from sourcing products from abroad? Well, the home turf advantage, the clue's in the name. Your advantage is coming from the fact that you operate on your home turf. And by that, we mean your suppliers or your distributors are on the same turf, the same country as your customers. So what that means is because customers today, with the age of Amazon Prime, expect fast delivery. So these long shipping times from overseas, if you're dealing directly with suppliers that are overseas, that can lead to customer dissatisfaction. It leads to high product return rates. Even before the items arrive, they cancel their order, but it's on a boat somewhere half the way from China over to the UK or the US. You can't then return it because you've already paid the supplier for it. The supplier's not going to take it back. And so there's this difficult scenario where you end up just having to refund the customer out of your own pocket. Now, what I'm not saying is that all of the products you sell have to be manufactured and made in the country in which your customers are. I think that's a bit of a stretch. Like often stuff is made outside of where you live. That's just the part of the global economy. But we can protect ourselves and our customers from the delays by working directly with suppliers and distributors who already have those products on shelves in the country that you are selling to your customers in. And what that means is when they order a product, very next day or 1 to 2 working days, the item can be with them, which makes for huge improvements in customer satisfaction. It means easy returns. If a customer ever orders something and then thinks, actually, I don't need that item, I need to return it, they can. And usually the supplier will just say, yeah, if it's unopened and in an as new condition, just send it back and we'll fully refund you the trade price and you can refund the customer the retail price. So to me, that's how business should be. I think when we're trying to play this game of like arbitrage across different countries and we are the end buyer of those products from the supplier, it means that we are the one taking on the risk of what happens in between when it leaves the supplier and us. It's all on us. There's no quality control. It just goes straight from the supplier in China to the customer. And that potentially leads to quality issues. Products from overseas suppliers can have inconsistent quality. And that can lead to complaints from your customers. It leads to refund requests, which can lead to more account problems, rolling reserves, chargebacks, account bans. And so you're kind of rolling the dice. Every time you make a sale, you're putting your faith in this unknown entity, this faceless like supplier that you never really speak to other than through kind of a broken English translated chat, usually on a site like AliExpress or Temu, and just hope that, if you put your entire faith in them, that your business will pull through. Whereas if you work with a supplier in the UK that you could just pick up the phone to, or jump in the car and go and see, or jump on a train and go and chat to them face to face, it just creates this level of trust. There's accountability. You can rely on them for quality control. And so, yeah, those are the reasons why I'd be very aware or very wary of working directly with suppliers based abroad, because there can just be delays. There's additional costs at customs. If we've had it where a customer has ordered an item, then it gets stuck at the border, and then they send through like the request to pay for the customs import duty. And you have to then either pass that on to the customer or take the hit on that yourself. And then it complicates your logistics and it's another couple of weeks delay because it's stuck in some warehouse there. All of that impacts the bottom line, the profit that the company takes home. So if you think right back to the beginning, before you chose your niche, before anything, you had a target monthly income. The reason you did this business is because you thought, I want to replace the income from my job. Now, at this stage, you might be at that stage right now, and that's a huge advantage if you haven't gone down the path of low ticket dropshipping already, but you're just considering your options. Right now, where you are is great because you get to decide which fork in the road you go down. Do you go down that route, end up experiencing all those problems, and then have this like disastrous inbox of email complaints every time you open up your laptop? Or do you kind of reverse engineer it and think, well, actually, I'd like to make £5,000 per month in net profit. Okay, well, I could do that by making 10 sales, of items that are £2,000, £3,000 per item. Maybe I'll just do that instead.
only 10 customers to keep happy. They get very fast delivery on their items. If ever there's a problem, I can send it back. There's no issues with legality of the product. Like, do you see what I mean? You get to choose the business that you build. So take advantage of that choice, make the most of it. And heed our warning and tread carefully if you're thinking of going down the path sourcing products from China.
Exactly, heed our warning, because we've been through that path, we've gone down it. And my experience of working with overseas suppliers was exactly as you say, Lewis. It was the broken English when trying to get orders fulfilled. It was a long delivery time, so we're constantly getting impatient customers, and rightly so, because it was 3 or 4 week delivery, and the customers were constantly getting in touch with us to find out when the product was going to be delivered. And then it was also those emails in the inbox from unhappy customers because the product quality was poor. And then it's the realization that you haven't got a very easy process in place to be able to handle those returns. And if you zoom out and remember why you did it in the first place, building a lifestyle business with income that replaces your salary so you can live from anywhere in the world and have more freedom over your life, you're not going to have that freedom if you're constantly in the inbox with poor quality products, if you're having to get deliveries and returns arranged from around the world with customs, tax, etc., etc. Instead, I found that having the domestic dropshipping, the home turf advantage model, Lewis, that you taught me, it just reduces all that complexity so much because the products are already in the same country as your customers, and having that in place removes all of the customs tax. It removes a lot of the complexity of dealing with overseas products. So absolutely always the way I'd go moving forward. So that means avoiding AliExpress products. I tried to sell no-tie shoelaces, Bluetooth gaming controllers that your phone sits in. I've tried to sell pet products, anything that was trending, I've given it a go, and it was a very similar process and a very similar story if I was dealing with overseas suppliers. So now that we understand the types of products that we really don't want to sell, I know that, Lewis, we have this niche validation process that we teach, so it enables people to find the right types of products from the very start. So can you discuss a little bit about our niche validation process?
I think with the niche validation system that we take you through, and by the way, this is all available in my book at the Home Turf Advantage, so you can access that and go through that yourself. But don't get stuck in analysis paralysis. I think that's one of the biggest hurdles, obstacles that people face, and you've got to try and use the data to make informed decisions. But then most of all, just take action. If it's slightly wrong, you can always pivot later. We're not going and buying a warehouse here full of products that we have to then sell. That's the beauty of dropshipping. We might make a few calls to suppliers, sign a few up, and then maybe we realize, it's not quite selling as well as I thought. Okay, I'll pivot, I'll adjust, I'll widen my niche slightly. There's so much control you have over the process as a business owner at that point. So if I had to summarize, I think I'd say use data, not emotion, to select products, and just make sure that you're building your business on a solid foundation. So if you want more in-depth, kind of step-by-step on how our niche validation criteria works, you can access that in my book called The Home Turf Advantage, which you can get a copy of at htabook.com.
There's things that I wish I'd come across before I had ever started dropshipping. It's about choosing products based on the data rather than just a hunch or an emotion because you like the products yourself. And that's going to be a lot more successful in the long run. I think there are quite a lot of things that I wish I knew before I started. And I know we've actually done an episode on that subject where, Lewis, you went through, I think, 9 different things that you wish you knew before you started dropshipping. So that's one to check out for you if you're listening to today's episode. That's episode 46 of the Dropship Unlocked podcast. So I think people understand now there's definitely products we should avoid at all costs. And then there are actually thousands of different niches and different products that do fit the criteria and we do want to sell. So I guess any final thoughts from you really, Lewis, for people choosing the right products to sell?
Yeah, stay informed, make data-driven decisions, use the validation criteria, don't rely on your gut instinct. You can always overlay the decision with your gut instinct later, but don't just rely on that from the outset. Always try and prioritize customer satisfaction and just work backwards from your goal, your target monthly income. What's the path of least resistance to get you to that number? Because that's all that matters. If you can build a nice, easy, stable, sustainable business that keeps customers happy and makes you your 3, 5, 10K per month, whatever it is you need to replace your current income, then do it in the path of least resistance. Don't sell thousands of low ticket products just because you thought that was the lowest barrier to entry. It's worth a bit of time up front overcoming some of those initial obstacles, because that creates kind of a bit of a moat around your business. Not everybody can be bothered to do that. Not many people can be bothered to pick up the phone and call a supplier. But if you're listening to this, you're clearly taking your business seriously. And so that's what will set you apart from the pack. That's what will elevate your brand.